Stop the cap.
Why is it all of a sudden I gotta mess with this humidifier? I'm one of them people that gotta sleep with the damn fan on, and I got this damn humidifier. And the thing is, like, I don't know what is up with the microphone, but the microphone, I'm talking, and the microphone just picks up, just you hear it, you hear it in the background. I'm like, why is it picking up? Like, it's not even that loud. Like, I can barely hear it, but on the microphone's like, hello, humidifier. Like, god damn, like, shit is ridiculous. Anyway, I'm gonna have to try to do something about the background noise, because I went back and listened to the videos, and I'm like, what is that noise? I'm like, oh, that's the humidifier, right? Because I had a problem because like I was having, like, you heard my voice, all that my voice is all messed up, and it's primarily because of freaking sleeping with the fan on and it drying out my freaking mucous membranes and all that. And so that's what happened. That's why you hear that buzzing sound in the background, because of the damn humidifier. But anyway, this is see, I gotta speak on this because this is taking me off my square, and every so often I have to address these people. I had a person that came in my comment section, and I guess they're trans or LGBTQ, and they're accusing me of being transphobic. And these people are so irritating. The whole LGBTQ movement in the black community just irritates the fuck out of me. You guys are irritating. As a straight black man, you guys are irritating as fuck. So basically they came in, and now they're trying to talk about how the trans people or the LGBTQ people are the spear tips of, all movements in the black community. Freaking Martin Luther, Bussy, you know what I mean? Like, that's all this bullshit, right? And I don't hate the transgender LGBT community, but, like, first off, why the fuck are we talking about this 0.0001% of the black community like they're super important in the black community? Because they're not. You're not. You wouldn't even exist. The gay people, the trans people, you wouldn't even fucking exist if straight people weren't getting together. If straight black men and straight black women were not getting together, you wouldn't even fucking exist. You operate in an alternative lifestyle. And the word alternative is important, because the shit that you all do and engage in isn't even conducive to life nor the continuation of anything. And that's a fact. Nobody's sitting up here saying, oh, you can't exist and you can't do what you do. But no, I'm not putting your existence on par with heteronormative cisgendered people, because your shit is not conducive to life, and therefore it's not conducive to the continuation of anything that pertains to the black community. You can contribute. You can contribute in the same way that a black man, can contribute marrying outside the community and marrying another race. The same way that, like, Phil Scott is contributing to the black community and addressing, black issues. But there's a critical inflection point, where at that point, like if you got too many black men doing that, it's no longer a black community. It's something else. It's a different community. It's a racially, ambiguous community with a totally different identity, with, non-black moms. So I don't get too retarded with it. I recognize that that's no longer a black community. You know what I mean? But as long as, they're, a significant minority and most of the black people are getting together, yeah, they can contribute. They can, exist in the community and function and whatnot. You know what I mean? But should a black man with a white woman, or a black man with an Asian woman, or a black woman with a white man, should they be placed on par with a black man getting with a black woman in black discussions that pertain to the black community? No. That's the wrong orientation. That's inappropriate behavior to sit there and try to put them on par. So why would we put transgender and LGBTQ people on par in the black community with heteronormative cisgender people, which are the only people that are actually producing and continuing, the black race, within the confines of the black community. Why would we put that on par with that? The other real big issue I have with the LGBTQ and all that, and the trans people, because this person was, they obviously had to be trans because they're talking about transphobic. Either that or they're in the FD signifier camp. Okay. And as a straight black man, one of my big irritations is the way that black men are the bane of all the problems in the black community, right? You want to talk about, black on black crime in the community. You want to talk about black men's inability to be patriarchs, right? Because, black men's economic marginalization, right? And so all things in the black community really stem from a lack of resources in black men's hands. Community responsibilities underneath the umbrella of patriarchy cannot be met by black men if black men are not gainfully employed. And what all these other people, women, children, trans, LGBTQ, which is basically the majority of the DNC, right? This is why they have this problem with black men. They love to blame black men, but then when you actually talk about correcting and fixing the problem, which is that solution is rooted in black men doing and performing better and having the resources to facilitate that change, because that puts black men at the top of the pyramid, or at least they want to ignore that black men would have to be at the top of that pyramid. And then you'd have, by extension, you'd have, women underneath that, and then you'd have children underneath that. And then you'd have like transgender LGBTQ off to the side, because they're not even they're a part of the community, but they don't produce children. So how do you categorize them? Oh, well, we should be able to exist, and we should be able to be and we should be able to be valued. Yeah, you can exist, but I'm not putting you on par with the chain of the continuation of life in the black community. And again, how you're going to have this situation where black men take on the burden of responsibility of building, maintaining, and defending the physical infrastructure of the black community against other patriarchal communities and not put them first, they're not going to take on the responsibility. You're not going to be able to give them responsibility devoid of leadership. You're not going to be able to give them responsibility devoid of control. You're not going to be able to give men that. I don't know where it's either the gay people, the LGBTQ, or the black feminists. Y'all think that black men are supposed to operate in service to you. The same thing when it comes to, black girls have low self-esteem because the black man didn't jump up and down and shake his tambourines and thirst over a black girl. Oh, you're transphobic if you don't want some bussy. You know what I mean? Like, you running around scrambling, attracted to black men, running around scrambling, looking for black male validation, ain't got a lick of respect for black men, but want black men to go, oh, how come you ain't doing what the white boys is doing? Oh, how come you ain't doing what the Asian boys is doing? Oh, how come you ain't doing what the Latino community is doing? Where's your bodega? Where's your community businesses? And where's your this and that? How come you ain't doing the hiring? Blah, 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 blah. Right? All of which would require what? Black men to be ahead. But see, the rhetoric, what I see is what they want black men to handle responsibilities like they're at the top of the pyramid, like what you see in other patriarchal communities. But then they want to equalize black men with everybody else in the community. So instead of it being this triangular pyramid with the black man at the top, right? And then below that, women and then children. No, they want it to be a horizontal flat plane with a heteronormative cisgender black man on the left, a transgender, freaking woman next to him, a hetero normative cisgender black woman next to that, who's probably a feminist, a child, next to the woman, right? We're gonna put minors on par with adults, right? So nobody is above anybody. Okay, so who's handling the responsibilities in the community to provide, protect, and maintain the infrastructure? Like who's pioneering that shit? No answer. Right? We get some communal rhetoric about, oh, we're just coming together and we're gonna do this together, and like it's some goddamn kibbutz. Meanwhile, there's no evidence of this ever going on in the black community, fucking ever. When you want to talk about when we had, all those communities that white people burnt down, those are patriarchal black communities. Those were communities that were established and maintained by black men and had strong black male leadership. You can go back and look at the black and white photos and shit. You had black men in the past that were handling business. And to this day, despite all the rhetoric, about, what the Bussy warriors and what black feminists are getting from white zaddy, they still want black men, to take on the lion's share of the burden of the responsibility of maintaining, the community. Right? I recognize that black men's respect is based off of that. It's based off of, like, you got to handle, if you want the respect, you got to handle, those responsibilities. The problem is there are certain people in the black community that are part of these factions that they don't want to give the respect, because they recognize that establishes a hierarchy and reinforces the patriarchy that they would otherwise have destroyed. They don't want the patriarchy because the patriarchy doesn't value their existence to the degree that they feel that it should be valued, right? The patriarchy doesn't value a feminist woman, who's doing her own thing and, not married and not attached to a husband, right? And not adhering to, the male-oriented structure. Right, where, see, in a male-oriented structure, men can keep other men in check because everybody's playing their roles. If the men have responsibilities to the community, then the community has responsibilities to the men, like in terms of like the idea of women following men and so on and so forth. When the men are the ones that are making the sacrifice and having to, go off and build and maintain and do all that shit. Like if there's a predator in the community, you got to go handle that. You got to pull up. Anything, like, again, like when you see let a white girl go missing and shit like that, them white men are out there, the whole fucking community, but primarily the men are out there with them goddamn dogs, searching in the woods, trying to figure out, where the hell this person is and shit with the bloodhounds and whatnot. That's what the fuck you got to do. You got to handle shit. You got to make sure that people are eating, that people are good. Otherwise, why are you leading if you're not doing that? What is the purpose of you leading? So I'm with and understand the people that want to criticize black men and those that think that they get to lead without handling business at the collective level. I'm with you on that. But what I'm not with you on is the idea that you're going to dump all this patriarchal responsibility on men without patriarchy. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. All this equalizing of trying to get heteronormative cisgendered men to equalize themselves to the black feminists and trans and LGBTQ and all that other shit. All that shit does is that shit just points black men in the direction of dating outside the race and being with other races of women. And I don't blame them. Because for a straight man, to operate like that, like, I'm like, nah, but man, a straight man gonna sign up for that. You know what I mean? So what do I get? Oh, I get nothing but a bag of responsibility, no patriarchal reward, no patriarchal respect, right? No patriarchal authority, right? No patriarchal control, but all you get is a bag of responsibility and blame for the community being fucked up while nobody really respects you, recognizes you, or, sees you as a leader or follows you. I'm like, that's not going to happen. And unfortunately, because the black community is not a closed ecosystem, all you're going to have is massive amounts of hemorrhaging of black men basically leaving the community. That's all you're going to have. And that's what people, complain about. Whether they're getting married or not, doesn't matter. If they're over the fence, they're over the fence. And we don't even know what the over the fence numbers are. We just know what the marriage numbers are, but we don't know what the over, messing with the other races of women and not getting married and, possibly having babies and shit, but you still over there and you still producing children and you still, which isn't patriarchy. That's not patriarchy. But black men are in a fucked up situation, right? Because it's like you're not that's not really, you're not really forming a community over there. And then especially when you get the young men and they haven't had, proper development, or there's a broken chain of command when it comes to the, patriarchal mindset, being passed down because the black community is matriarchal. All you get are a bunch of confused young men where they look at other communities and they want, the rewards of patriarchy. They see the rewards, but they don't get all the details on what they have to do in order to get that. And then even the ones that do understand what they have to do in order to get that, it's like Dennis made a post the other day talking about, his sons and how they wanted to have a woman like the woman that Dennis married. And Dennis married a Dominican woman, and how, his sons were saying that they didn't want to have kids, which brings up the question of like, well, how do they view their own biological mother? But that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm saying, he was letting them know, like, you see how hard I work in order to have that. Like, you don't get a wife like that unless, you out here kicking ass. That's what he was telling his sons. What are black boys told in the black matriarchy, growing up with the, all these, single mothers, right? Since we got, 71% of black children, being born out of wedlock. It's actually closer to, 42% of black children are living in households with only one parent, which is primarily the single moms. Because, a lot of these women, they remarry because black men have been the most accepting of getting with women that already have kids. Right. That's not the ideal situation. And now that, we see the disrespect, we see the the issues that come along with it. You got a lot of young black men today, this younger generation, I'd say millennials on down, basically saying that they're not doing it. They're no longer doing it. But so there's a lot of confusion because, there's a lot of black men that end up going over the fence that don't really deserve, to be able to, function and operate with the I don't know what you want to call it, operate with the like a patriarch, but without actually being a patriarch. I think there's some confusion there. I think that's how black men can go over the fence and facilitate a bad reputation for those that just simply believe that, well, he's a man and he's going to operate like my race of men. And then the black man goes over there, and doesn't, or half-asses it because he doesn't have the full picture. But the thing is yes, the fixings, the rewards, they're definitely on the other side of the fence. They are not in the black community. In the black community, all you're going to run into is a bunch of single moms, feminists, and, the fucking, they're transgender, LGBTQ fucking cheerleaders in the background. That's all you're going to fucking run into. Telling you about how you need to operate and how you're self-hating if you go over the fence and you deal with other races of women and whatnot, and how and the black community, and then they're going to try to shame you with some pro-blackity blackness, But they really don't have any respect for you. They just want you to come into the community and do a little bit enough to fucking service, whatever their basic fucking needs are. That's really all they fucking want. Which is why, when it comes to, black men and them going over the fence, even though I know that that's not conducive to any sort of solution for the black community as a whole, I totally understand. I totally understand why a brother's going to go over there. You know what I mean? Like it. I mean the whole way that other races of women operate, by and large, since their communities are generally more patriarchal than the black community. Man, it's not even a discussion. That doesn't even have to be articulated to me. Or why a brother would find it appealing going over there. When in the black community, somehow, the homoeroticism and homosexual behavior of the white community, has been thrust upon us. Black people ain't running around the world talking about, oh, you need to respect these gay rights. Like, we're not running around the world trying to force that shit on. China isn't going into Africa talking about what's up with the gays. Like, China ain't doing that, but the United States is. And the United States is what? A white run country, right? The European countries trying to put sanctions on Africa on some gay shit. You know what I mean? Think about that. Their birth rates are on the floor, and Africa has the highest birth rates in the world, which means that friggin' Africa is projected, to be the powerhouse in the fucking future, just based on the fact that all the other places are dying out. And then here you got the places with the lowest fucking birth rates or lower birth rates coming through and trying to push gay shit on black people. Let that sink in. And then you got trans people in my comment section talking about my rights. Like, fuck out of here. Like, no. Your shit is not conducive to black empowerment. It's just not. Not saying you can't contribute, but it's not conducive. It's not conducive to, the things that need to be corrected in the community. And it blows my mind, right? Like, I originally came on the internet and I was like, what's up with the black women and the attitudes? We don't weave, kids out of wedlock, bad attitudes. That was my, my primary, focus, my uninformed primary, what the fuck is going on question, right? Which kicked off all of these fucking discussions. And then we went through the phase, okay, now what's going on with black men, patriarchy, okay, what do men do? What are their responsibilities? This, that, and the third, yada, 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 yada. Right? Then we went through the phase of and that's why black women don't respect you, and y'all niggas ain't do this, da, 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 da. Then we went through the phase of discovering that there were women who were intentionally avoiding black men that had their shit together so that they could call shots in the relationship, which undermines, right, the boys getting that aspect of leadership, only for the women to later on turn around and complain about how fucked up the community is. Like, it's crazy to me that okay, you ask, okay, what is the problems in the black community? It's literally going to be nothing but complaints about black men. Oh, the community is broken. Oh, y'all black men, y'all don't build, y'all don't maintain. Oh, the black men, y'all need to do better. Oh, there's so much violence in the community, black on black violence. Oh, all black men need to get organized. You need to be like the young men in the Nation of Islam. You know what I mean? And have discipline and this, that, and third. That's what the focus needs to be, right? And black men need to, to get their concepts of manhood, right? Y'all need to correct that, right? Okay, fine. Right. But then, like, it's like in this correction process, right, in black men discussing what failed, what broke, why did it break, which is largely economic. Right. But then you get the feminists and you get the LGBTQ people. They try to come in and they try to slip their bullshit in. They're trying to like get it to where, oh, no, we want you to fix it, but we want you to fix it in our way. We don't want you to fix it in a true traditional patriarchal way. We want you to be less patriarchal, but take on more responsibility or the same responsibility that we see in other patriarchal communities. That's what we want. So that's why they're always trying to monitor, what men are saying. That's why they're always coming into the space trying to figure out, what are these sexist, misogynist, patriarchal males talking about? What are they talking about? We got to make sure that, they don't develop into full patriarchal mindsets. we got to go in there and we got to tweak shit. And we got to throw shame in there. We go, oh, yeah, if you think this, oh, that's because, you know, you hate your mama black. Oh, you're sexist, misogynistic. Oh, that's Eurocentric. Oh, you want to do this? That's Eurocentric. Mind you, the Eurocentric shit is exactly where they get their resources from the Eurocentric white male, quote unquote, patriarchs, white zaddy that give them the resources that allow them to be fucking strong and independent and fucking sassy towards black men. So they try to hit us with a standard, right? Tell us that the white boys are being sexist and they're problematic, but the white boys are on top and the white boys are where they get their fucking resources to come through and be sassy and have attitudes and everything else. Let that sink in. They hold us to a fucking outside standard that technically speaking, they don't even fucking believe in. They're trying to create Franken niggas in the black community, which is one of the reasons why I got major fucking problems with them. Major fucking problems with the shit that they do and the interference they do. And it's very difficult to sit there and actually, you know, narrow this down and point, you know, to a singular, you know, a singular point where, you know, where you can say, aha, I caught you, bitch, red-handed, right? Nah. It's very difficult because they gaslight and they play games and act like, oh, that's not what they're doing. And anything that I'm saying, oh, it's just the worst of the worst. It's so sexist and misogynistic and you're just a black incel and you hate your mother and you know, just bullshit. Just bullshit. You know, at the end of the day, you know, it's like, you know, you have, you know, men, black boys that need correction, that need guidance. And because of the things that there's, you know, whatever these toxic elements within patriarchy that exists, you know what I mean? Like the way that like boys will be competitive and that boys will say things like, homophobic things about other men that they see as weak, or labeling women, you know, as the weaker sex, and that's an insult to a man in a competitive space with other men. Right? I mean, the crazy thing is, women do it. Women do it. Women are the number one people who will say, "Don't be a fucking pussy. You're being a fucking pussy." So being weak equates to you calling a man your genitalia, right? And then being brave and having some fucking balls means being the male. You see this? So even in this, we need to change the paradigm. You know, like notice that like the phrases don't follow. They're not fighting to change those phrases. No, because at the end of the day, what they want is they want black male responsibility devoid of fucking leadership. That shit doesn't get past me. That doesn't get past me, bitch. You don't rule me. You don't rule shit. You know, and you know, again, you try to press that issue, you know, and then the man gets violent. I'm like, well, then that's what happened. That's what happened. You got punched in the face. That's what happened. Because you went over there thinking that you was going to fucking regulate and tell this fucking grown ass man that's got, you know, size on you, you know, how shit's going. You thought you going to go over there and dictate how shit's going to go down. Fuck you. No. You see? You know, it's crazy to me that the idea was that we need correction for black boys, men and boys. We need correction for black boys because the community is fucked up and all the blame, you know, is on the black men. And then at the same time that we get into the, you know, this phase of, you know, the internet and YouTube and, you know, just random everyday voices. This is the first time, like I'm saying, you know, obviously, you know, this is like over a decade, but I'm saying, you know, I'd say from the 2010s onward, you know, that's when YouTube really got popular. That was the first time, you know what I mean, that you had that the discussions weren't just on like Ricky Lake or fucking Sally Jesse Raphael or fucking, you know, Yolanda or, you know, or shit like that. Is it actually Yolanda or Rolanda? I keep getting mistake. But anyway, it wasn't on these shows. It wasn't on Queen Latifah where you had these like, after the commercial break, like all that bullshit. This is the first time where just regular people could come on the internet and talk out they shit and be like, look, this is, you got mainstream television and shit like that. All that's going through a filter. What you hear in these spaces on YouTube, that's not going through a filter. This is the everyday shit that motherfuckers is talking about. This is barbershop talk. Black men never had a space. It's barbershop talk. You know what I mean? And again, they still come through and they try to regulate. But it's crazy to me that, oh, you black men, you're not being men and y'all failing and lean on me and this, that, and the third, right? This is what everybody was saying. Then we get into the space. We start having the conversations, which, again, it's going to take a while because everybody, we were going through the shit with a fine tooth comb. What the fuck is going on? And then at the same time that we're doing that, at the same time that the correction, psychologically and organizationally, at the same time that shit's going on, here comes, the fucking, LGBTQ. Oh, gay shit. Oh, Rainbow Coalition, all this other shit. Black and Brown Coalition. Like, hey, we're correcting all the shit that y'all motherfuckers were complaining about in the fucking 80s. We're trying to sort that shit out. It may take us a while because a lot of us didn't have our daddies or our daddies weren't in the right position. So we're trying to bake a cake from fucking scratch. Okay? We don't even know that that we need, the flour and eggs and I remember one time I tried to make pancakes without the pancake mix or something like that. It was something it was some ingredient that I was missing. I was like, okay, I got the flour, I got the egg, and then I think that's all I had. And I was trying to make fucking pancakes. And that shit just would not pancake. The pancake wasn't pancaking in. You know what I'm saying? And it's because I didn't know. I didn't have the ingredients. I just figured it was some flour, it was some egg, you know what I mean? It was some milk, and you mix it together, and then that equals pancakes. I didn't know like you had to have like a pancake, like it's like a box and it's got like the pancake like thing in it. I don't know. You know what I mean? And whatever I did, maybe I didn't have the milk. I don't know what I didn't have. I didn't have something. All I know is the pancakes wasn't pancaking. No matter how I tried, I was pissed. I'm sitting there at like fucking 13 years old, like mad as a motherfucker in the kitchen, fucking my mother's plates up or pans up, right? Just fucking it up, shit all sticking and freaking smoke alarms going off. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. All I know is I wanted some pancakes. I was like, oh, it's not that difficult. Went down there, I was fucking shit up. Fucking smoke alarm going off. I'm opening up the fucking back door. I'm pulling the sliding door back, trying to get the smoke to go out of the fucking house, knowing I'm going to get cursed out or get my ass beat. I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? Smoke building up in the kitchen. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. But I'm saying, yeah, that same thing applies to black men trying to sort the shit out, walk through what's going on, try to get guidance from some of the older men that came out the woodwork that are retired, that are like, hey, we can give you some insight. You know what I mean? And we're sitting down having conversations about that. And then all of a sudden, here comes Bussy Patrol. Like, what? Here comes Bussy Patrol. Here comes the feminist. Oh, you black men, you're trying to reestablish the patriarchy with your sexism. Oh, that's Eurocentric. Oh, my God. We just got here. We just motherfucking got here. We just sat down to have a discussion about the problems that pertain to black men that you all have been complaining about like a motherfucker. And again, it's not just because you're complaining about it. It's also because these problems are clearly affecting us as well. Okay? I would like to be in a community where I don't have to worry about getting carjacked or have to worry about, there being some sort of crime or motherfuckers tearing my shit up. You know what I mean? I would like to be in a community where brothers have a mutual respect for one another. And I would like to be in that environment, right? Right? We got to understand what's going on. A lot of the shit that goes on in the community is out of desperation. So we got to understand what are the needs that brothers are not getting, right? Which we all know it's all economical and whatnot, but we got to be honest about that, right? But at the same time, we're having that conversation. Here comes Bussy Patrol. Here comes the fucking feminists. And again, I've already said this. The reason why the Bussy Patrol and feminism fucking form Voltron is because, the patriarchy, is not a place where, they're recognized and equally valued, because that's not what men value. Men do not, we don't operate like that. We don't think like that in terms of, what your place is, in these spaces. As far as we, what we think, if we can't do anything with you, we don't really care what's going on with you. Okay? Like we really don't care. But, on the, that the community does have a broad, a scope of individuals, we recognize that if we build a bridge, there's going to be LGBTQ people using the bridge. There's going to be, feminist women that, we can't even do shit with, even if she looks good, like Aisha K. Faines. We can't do shit with her, right? We recognize that, okay? We recognize that. I mean, there's the patriarchy definitely is not, it's not perfect. It has its fucking downsides. For example, like, what do you tell a woman, that, let's say she doesn't look good? What do you tell her when the patriarchy is the idea that, a woman has to sit around and wait to be chosen, and she's not attractive, enough for, the caliber of man that, maybe she wants, or the class that she wants to be in? What do you tell her? What did she do? Should she not be able to work and sit around and wait for a man that's never going to come? Should she not be able to take care of herself? Things like that. I can't sit there and say that the feminists are wrong about shit like that. Right? But I'm saying because that happens and that goes on, you're telling me that you have to totally dismantle the system of patriarchy? When all the benefits that you get are literally coming from another fucking patriarchy. All the shit that allows you to be sassy and defiant literally comes from another fucking patriarchy. And then you sit there and criticize black men about not being like another group of men that are patriarchal. And then tell black men that they need to be productive like those other races of men without it being a patriarchy, without there being a male hierarchy. Right? I'm like, that's not going to happen. All you're going to do is create an exodus of young black men that are going to sit there, they're looking at the community. The community is matriarchal as fuck. Okay? There's nothing interesting in there. You guys are trying to change everything. You know what I mean? You're trying to get black men to be attracted to fat women, ugly women, bussy, feminists that ain't offering shit. You know what I mean? There's no pleasantries. The bitch don't even want to smell good for the brother. Doesn't want to work out. Doesn't want to go to the gym. Ooh, that's a part of the patriarchy. I mean, seriously speaking, like, what is left after you all suck all the oxygen out of the room? Bussy? What is left? What's left? And then you get mad when the brothers go over the fence and they get with other races of women. Now you're mad. Now, oh, it's colorism. Oh, colorism. Ah. Really? Nah. So, I mean, that's complete. That's complete. I like, this video is so complete. I shouldn't need to come back to this topic for a very long time. That's my problem with the LGBT, Bussy Patrol, and the fucking feminists and whatnot. I get it. Patriarchy doesn't value either one of you, so therefore, smash the patriarchy. I'm like, what? I'm like, first off, bitch, what fucking patriarchy? What do you mean smash the patriarchy? Smash the patriarchy is some shit that white bitches, can say. Okay? But when it comes to the black community, I'm like, the patriarchy's already been smashed. It already got smashed by white supremacy a long time ago. So what are you talking about? Smash the fucking patriarchy. Black community is matriarchal as fuck. It's just retarded. It's retarded. And again, when you got freaking black boys running out here talking about snow bunnies and shit. Like, I'm like, man, cooked. So, again, you can make the environment as a non-male centered as you want. You can make it as uncomfortable as you want for the men. The men won't be around. They will not be around. And it won't even be a situation of, oh, they're not, they got with you and then you got pregnant and then they left you a single mom. And so, no, they're not going to be fucking with you from the jump. From the jump, they're going to be constantly licking their lips, trying to figure out what's over the fence, what's on somebody else's plate. Because there's nothing in the black community that is fucking appealing. There's nothing. Just imagine, I mean, seriously speaking, imagine being a black teenager and looking around the black community. What do you think is appealing to him? Just put yourself in the shoes of a young black man. Do you honestly think that what they see is fucking appealing? Do you think that shit is appealing? Now, I could ask the same thing when it comes to the sisters, but again, the babies that y'all be having with the very type of situations and the very type of men that y'all complain about, that doesn't make any sense. I've said this numerous times before. That black men are way more consistent in their behavior about the things that they avoid. When they say that they don't like it, they don't like it. Y'all complain way more about black men being over the fence than the other way around. Than black men complain about y'all being over the fence. Y'all complain about that shit way more because it's going on more. It's going on more. You know what I mean? So again, when brothers say that they don't like something, they don't like it, and they're the fuck out. You all will sit there and say that you don't like something, but then your baby daddy literally is what you just said you don't like. And we sitting there like, yo, how does that make any sense? I don't like pirates. Okay, can bring your baby daddy to the tribunal. We put the motherfucker up on the stand. Sir, do you have anything to say for yourself? Shiver me timbers. It's like, what? I thought you didn't like pirates. I don't. No, well, at least not anymore. It's like, oh my God. Oh my fucking God. I'm like, what gives you the right to fucking complain? Like, how many times do we see that type of scenario on Kevin Samuel's show? He's unfit to lead, Kevin. Okay, well, if he was unfit to lead, why shouldn't he be unfit to become a father by? You know what I mean? Or become a mother by? Shouldn't he be unfit to procreate with too? Right? Unfit to lead, yes. And he's unfit to procreate with. Apparently not. It makes no sense. Y'all complain about the situations that you all create. The situations that you all walk into, and then the same women telling you about feminism, fist in the air, and all this other shit will then retreat to, oh, I'm a damsel in distress. Oh, us women, we don't know, and we're the weaker sex, and we have a weaker mindset, and it's just these evil males that are out here using their Jedi mind tricks on us and waving their hand and saying these aren't the droids you're looking for. And the next thing you know, I was pregnant. They're out here doing drive-by ejaculations. This is how I ended up in the situation I ended up with because, of the manipulative nature of black males. Wait, huh? I thought you was boss, bae, energy. You the smartest of the smart. Can't nobody get nothing around you. You should be a CEO running companies all over the place, right? Because you know what the fuck is going on. You got your PPP loan and all this other. I thought that's what the shit you was talking. Now, all of a sudden, when we get down to why you a single mom, oh, it's because that evil black, oh, he tricked me. Oh, he told me a bunch of sweet things. I'm like, well, did he have anything going on? No. Okay, so why did you go? Well, I mean, his words was just so smooth, and that's how it happened. So what qualifies you for leadership again? What qualifies you for leadership? If all of a sudden now you just saying that, niggas done put spells on you. Nah, I ain't buying that shit. It's bullshit. Anyway, that's all I got for y'all. That's my video, SWP. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.
On the scene, diamond blingy, whole screen. Check a boy, Louis V. I'm so fresh and so clean. Stuff them bands in my jeans, slap them 30s in them things. Pull the trigger, let it sing. Then go smoke a Russian cream.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hello?
Where
Where we at? Oh, you want to know where I'm at? We outside!